Welcome to our deep relaxation class.
Hello, everyone, and welcome. My name is Bryan Nupp, and I'm so grateful to meet you all again on this platform so that we can relax together. I don't know about some of you, but this class couldn't come soon enough this week. I'm really looking forward to it. So, without further ado, we're going to get right into it. Usually in class, we have about five to maybe 8 or 10 minutes at the most of kind of like some breath awareness practices and some really gentle seated warm ups. Today, we're going to take an even more restorative approach with our warm up. And if you do have two yoga blocks handy, that's going to really help you find this restorative warm up. If you don't have two blocks handy, then I'll give you a couple of other modifications or adaptations you can work into instead. So when you're ready, we're going to go ahead and grab these blocks. We're going to set them up on our mat. One block is going to be on, I'm going to say this is low, medium, high, okay, for our settings. Again, low, medium, high. We're going to have one block as a headrest on a medium setting. And before I can place this second block, I'm going to kind of get onto my mat, sitting with my legs outstretched. Some other things you might like to just have close by would just be some extra pillows and blankets. In this case, I've got some yoga bolsters to act as supports. So we're going to come into a restorative fish pose. This is a nice pose for kind of stretching the upper back, the thoracic spine, and helping to unground your shoulders. So you're going to take this second block on its low setting, flat against your back, with the bottom edge of that block, I'll turn to face away so you can see a little better. The bottom edge of that block is going to be right beneath your shoulder blades, or for ladies where your swimsuit top would lie on your back there if you're wearing a two-piece suit. So you're going to go ahead and just start to kind of lay on back, and your head should gently be supported by that block. All right, you might have to kind of adjust and move that block under the shoulder blades to get it to sit just right. Now, a final thing you can do while you're here is bring a little bend in the knees and then just bring something underneath of the legs to support that. That's going to help alleviate any pressure in your lower back. If you don't have something to put under your knees, you could actually place your feet flat on the floor. And voila, you have this wonderful heart-opening spinal stretch, restorative fish. Now, an alternative, and if you found your restorative fish, you can tune me out and just relax. But if you'd like to learn about an alternative, I'm going to grab a blanket. All right. I'm going to grab a kind of like a woven blanket like this. I'm going to fold it to make sure there's no hard creases in it. And then I'm going to roll that blanket up really tight. And I'll show you what that end result looks like. All right, something like this, nice tight blanket roll, okay? And I'm going to line this up with my spine, tucking it up tight against my lower back, and your head might just kind of rest off of the edge of that blanket. If that's too much of a stretch through your neck, you can take a block on its lowest setting and just place it right underneath of the back of the head. Similarly, you can use a bolster or some pillows to bring some support underneath of the knees. So both of these accomplish a similar goal for stretching the spine and helping to unround the shoulders. You might find one more comfortable or effective than the other. So you can feel free to play with both of those. And a lot of it is just getting the materials to lie just right on your anatomy. So you might have to just kind of fine tweak things. Even just like a little nudge here and there can make a big difference. So I've got a timer set. We're going to stay here for about 2 minutes. And this is where we'll practice our breath awareness. All you have to do for breath awareness practices, it's just simple and literal as it sounds, become aware of your breath. Use your powers of concentration to listen to and observe your breath. If you can, I would encourage you to breathe just in and out the nose. But if you feel like you need a little more of like a sort of like a stress relieving breath or like a heat reducing breath, you can breathe out of your mouth and in through your nose. If you have trouble quieting your mind or occupying that mental space during a breath awareness practice, you can keep your attention on your breath while simultaneously repeating a mantra or a short positive affirmation. One that you could use here would be, I find rest in mind, body, and spirit. I find rest here in mind, body, and spirit. Or you could sort of change the language of that to make it suit you. It could be something even more simplified than that. And I'll just be quiet and join you in this practice for about the next 30 seconds. In just a moment, we're going to roll onto our left side. We're going to roll off of those props. You can start to do so now. Excuse me. You can just very gently kind of move those things an arm's length away, clearing the space on your mat. You can keep a blanket or a block to rest your head on for a moment if you would like. And just lie on your left side. Take a couple of breaths here. Now, I want you to keep a little bend in your knees. We're going to work through some clamshell activities, and these are going to help to activate and sort of just work on like a contraction and stretch for our glute medius muscles. It's also going to help engage our cores a little bit and just, well, you'll see. These are really great. You might start to kind of feel the burn through here as we do about a dozen on each side. So we're going to keep our feet together, all right? Knees resting over knees, ankle over ankle. If you're on your left side, then your right leg will be on top. So we're going to lift that right knee. I'm going to engage my glutes slightly and just have a little squeeze at the top of that lift, and then very slowly lower that right knee down. So you're kind of creating this contraction, squeezing the glutes, opening, And slowly lowering back down. That's 2. So try and do about 10 more on your own. You can let your arms and head, your upper body just relax wherever it's comfortable. Once you've done your 10 on that side, we're going to work into a totally different set of muscles, different exercise for our shoulders. We're going to work into some shoulder mobility. This is actually a practice I learned when I was studying or I was having a training, and they were teaching us some kind of different techniques we could add to our tool bag. This is something that's used in rolfing, which is sort of like a um, like a like a manual stretch therapy or body therapy, kind of similar to physical therapy with its own unique little things, nuances. So all you got to do for this is you're going to be resting here. This time you're going to stack right hand over right hand. Okay. And what we're going to do is we're going to open up into a lying down twist. I'm going to grab just something to kind of support my head here while I'm talking. So I've got right hand over left, hand over hand, and I'm going to just very gently with my inhalation, I'm going to inhale, slide this right hand all the way up to the chest. I'm going to turn and look over through the head and neck, and then open this right hand out to the side. Exhale. Both shoulder blades touch the floor. And then as I inhale, I'll come back and then exhale to the starting position again. So you're really going to just take your time and let your breath guide this. It's an unrushed movement. And we'll just keep doing it for about 30 to 45 more seconds. Next time you find yourself hand over hand, we're going to move into our last practice for this side. All right, focusing even more so just on shoulder mobility. You're going to just gently drag your right fingers across the floor, up and overhead, trying to keep contact with the floor the whole time. You'll turn so the back of the hand touches the floor and palm faces up until you get to a point where you can flip that palm over around by your lower back. Let those fingers travel up and over the hips, down to the floor, back and front. And you're going to make 6 of these big circles on each side. Try and keep contact with the floor the whole time. Should have these last 2 to do. Just pause, hand over hand. Take a nice deep breath in through your nose. And gently relax. You can roll over onto your back and flip to the other side. I'm going to get up and turn around here so I can stay facing the camera. So you're going to start now on your right side. And we're going to work into some of those clamshell activities. So knees stacked. Remember the insteps of the feet will stay together. And you're going to simply open, squeezing those glutes gently on the top, and then gently lower that knee back down. Opening and lowering back down. Do about 8 to 10 more. Let those legs relax. Bring your left hand out over top of the right. We're going to work into that sort of that twisting movement. We're going to start by just sliding left hand up, right arm, reaching out behind. Good. Return back to neutral, hand over hand. And then we'll move into those range of motion activities now for our shoulder primarily. And all you really need to do for these is just keep that hand, that top hand in contact with the floor. And just start by going up and overhead, around behind. I might come out of cut of the camera here, but I'm going to scoot up so I can keep that full range of motion at. For this last one, you can just pause for a moment. Just enjoy a nice, long, deep breath in and let it go out your mouth or nose. So we're going to make our way up onto our hands and knees now. And we're going to move through a downward dog sequence. So go ahead and clear your mat. Take your time. If you need to get a drink or make any modifications to your space, you can do that now. All right. And when you're ready, we're just going to start on our hands and knees. We'll just move through a few repetitions of this cat and cow pose. As you inhale, you can tilt the tailbone away, melt the belly, lengthen through the spine, even stretching in the head and neck. While pulling the shoulder blades together, you can gently lift your chin up and then tuck the chin in, scoop the pelvis under. And again, inhaling, reverse and repeat that movement. Good. Now to come into our downward facing dog, which is sort of like this inverted letter V shape, all we've got to do is walk our hands forward. You can come into like a modified push-up position, tuck your toes under, and as you lift your knees, you're going to simultaneously lift your hips, sort of straightening your legs, walking your feet up an inch or two. You might like to keep a little bend in the knees here and then just gradually straighten one leg and then the other. You should have about 2 fists distance between your feet. Let the head and neck relax here. Just take the dog for a little walk. If at any time you need to rest or come down, you can come down to your knees and sink back into a child's pose. So from our downward facing dog, we're going to lift up onto the balls of our feet, pick up our hips, and then just gently drop everything over to the left. You should feel a big stretch running down the right side of your body. And then after you've enjoyed a breath or two there, pick your feet up, lift those heels high, and drop them over to the right. You can do that a couple of times on each side. And then return back to center. Just go ahead and take the dog for a walk. You can even lift one leg up high behind. And then gently lower to your knees, come down to forearms, and sink your hips back. We're going to move to that down dog sequence again, but before we do, we're going to add in a little lateral stretch, kind of continuing to warm up that side body. So all you need to do is walk your hands far over to the right from this kneeling position and then drop your your hips back towards your heels, really kind of anchoring your weight, favoring that left heel. So hands to the right, body weight pulls back to the left. You're ready, you can come back to center and do the same thing, other side, hands over to the left, body weight pulls back to the right. Good. Come on back to center. When you're ready, press back up to that downward facing dog stretch again. This time, try and place your heels as close to the floor as you can, legs straight but not locked. Hug the elbows in towards each other. And then gently look up in between the hands with your eyes. That'll keep your neck sort of straight here. Eyes are reaching up. Reach that right leg up high behind. And then step that right foot up in between the hands and lower your left knee down. Now you might like to stay right here for your low lunge. You may need to provide some support to that left knee with a cushion or blanket. You also wish you can start to come up into this sort of high lunge or kneeling lunge. You can keep your hands down by your side or use blocks, or if you prefer, the hands can reach up and overhead. Slowly lower your hands down. We're going to move back through downward dog so that we can come to the other side. This time, left leg will reach up high behind. Look up between the hands. Take a nice deep breath in. And as you exhale, step that left foot up between the hands. Whenever you're ready, find your appropriate lunge for this side. Go ahead and place the hands back down to frame that front foot. Get ready to step your right foot forward. Inhale, come all the way back up to standing. Exhale, relax the hands down. Great job. So we've got time for one balancing pose. We're going to make our way into Nataraj Asana or dancer pose. So to do so, I'm going to turn to face this direction, just so you can see. I'm going to be using my right leg to balance on, and I'm going to reach back to grab a hold of this left foot. So what I'm going to do first is just kind of try and bring my heel up towards my buttocks here. And I'm going to reach down to grab a hold of that foot/ankle junction. It's going to be important to keep your core engaged. For balancing poses, I like to find something on the wall in front of me or down on the floor that I can keep my eyes focused on. That's going to make it much easier to balance here. If your eyes are all over the place, your balance is going to be all over the place. So find something you want to focus your attention on. Take a nice deep breath in. As you exhale, reach for that foot. And now you're going to keep your core engaged, but you're going to press this left foot away from the hand. And that's going to create a little back bend. You can reach up with your right hand facing forward or right palm turned up or any kind of hand gesture or mudra you might like to practice there. You can. Go ahead and gently release, kind of shake it out. Make any little adjustments you'd need to. If you need to grab a drink really quick, you can. Very good. So we'll do the same exact thing on the other side. This time we'll just go ahead and ground our left foot down, shift weight into that left foot, reach back to grab a hold of that right ankle or heel. Press the foot away from the hand, reaching left hand up to stabilize your balance there. Gently release that right foot, return to standing. We'll just enjoy a nice standing forward fold to close our standing sequence. All you're going to do is hinge from the hips, slowly start to melt the fingers down towards the floor, tuck the chin in. You can come up halfway to reset, pull your shoulder blades together, drive the heels down, and then again, slowly just hinge from the hips. Just hang here like a rag doll. Inhale, take your time, return all the way to standing. Take one last tall good morning stretch. Very good. And now we'll come to, let's see what I'm going to do next. We'll go ahead and we'll work in a quick back bend. I think we've got time for that. So we'll come face down. We'll rest on our bellies here. All right. So we're going to work into a lower back exercise. It's a good toning practice to tone your glutes and lower back. And it's also really good for stimulating your digestion. And we all need a toned glute and lower back and healthy digestion. So here we go. We're going to move into first half locust pose and then full locust. So I'll demonstrate those now. You can come down on your belly. You can turn your right cheek to the floor. This will just give you a little comfortable place to rest the face. If that's too much of a stretch for your neck, you could always just place your forehead on the floor. Now, you might have noticed I picked up my hips. I'm trying to scooch my arms underneath my body. This is going to sort of stabilize me here, and this is going to give me that extra digestive boost by bringing a little manual kind of massage and stimulation to those digestive organs. If you're wearing any thick jewelry or a watch, that might make this a little uncomfortable, in which case you could just keep your hand by your side if you don't wish to remove that. So for a half locust, all I'm going to do is just engage one side, and I'm really working on a horizontal lengthening and not so much like a vertical lift. The vertical lift happens naturally as you continue to reach out and then engage. You can do this on one side to start for about 25 to 30 seconds. A little more won't hurt. Keep both hips on the floor. Sometimes the tendency is to want to lift that left hip up. Keep it pressing down, even though you're reaching that left foot out behind and lifting the left leg up. Slowly lower that left leg down, bring opposite cheek to the mat, and repeat on the other side. Gently lower down, bring your chin or forehead to the mat. Just to quickly readjust the arms, so those elbows are underneath the body if you're using that arm variation. We're going to try and move into the full pose this time, so both legs at the same time. Really want to try and ideally keep the hips pressing down, but the quads, that upper thigh and upper part of the leg, lifting off of the mat. So when you're ready, take a nice full breath in, and with your exhalation, lift. Slowly lower those legs down, untuck the arms, and gently press up and back into your child's pose once again. And then when you're ready, you're going to go ahead and roll onto your back. Place your feet on the floor. Step your feet a little bit wider than you might normally place them. So your feet are kind of hugging the edge of your mat, or maybe even just sort of riding the edge of your mat there. And then just gently let the knees stack in towards one another. I just want you to gently turn your head and neck side to side to even out that stretch in the head and neck. Arms out to the sides, palms face up. Just going to rest here for a few more seconds. Just enjoy your breath. Enjoy this moment. And when you're ready, go ahead and hug both knees in towards the chest. So still staying here a little longer. This time we're just sort of bringing some little circles into the lower back, massaging the lower back into the mat. And when you're ready, we're going to move into a bridge pose. I'll give you the option, the opportunity for a restorative bridge pose. Let's see if I can figure out where I put my yoga blocks at. Oh, they're hiding overhead. Okay, so for your restorative bridge, you can use a very firm pillow or most handy your yoga block, and just simply slide that on its lowest or medium setting underneath of that junction with your lumbar and sacral spine. So lower on the back, sort of right on your where your belt line might be. And you can just stay right here and get some subtle benefit from doing that. If you just want to rest, if you want to engage, all right, you're going to walk your feet in so you can just start to touch the heels with the tips of your fingers. Roll the shoulder blades underneath the back of the body, tilt the chin away. Now engage in your core, press through the hips, and squeeze those glutes as you lift up. Keep your breath steady and natural, regardless if you're a restorative bridge or this active variation. When you're ready, you can slowly lower yourself down, remove that block if you're using it to rest. Just gently windshield wiper the knees side to side. And we're going to close with a seated twist. You can make your way back up into a seated position. All right, so both legs can be extended out in front. We're going to start by twisting to the right-hand side. So to do that, from this variation, I'm going to hug my right knee up into the chest. I'm going to actually cross this right foot over my left leg, okay? And sitting up nice and tall, I brought a blanket nearby just in case I needed something to elevate my hips, just about an inch. And then I can go ahead and hug that right knee in with my left arm. At this point, I've initiated a twist, so I'm going to look around over my right shoulder and then windmill this right hand around behind. Now, your shoulder should be relaxed here. Your shoulder should basically be parallel to the floor. All right. This right foot should be comfortably placed on the floor. When you're ready, you can bring your head neck back to center first. Release that grasp on the right leg. Slowly extend the right leg and then prepare for the other side. So just simply hug this left knee in, cross this left foot over the right leg, hugging that left knee with the right hand and windmilling this left hand around behind. Very good. Gently return to center. Go ahead and extend both legs. Just hinge from the hips and tuck the chin in. Take a gentle forward fold here. And we're going to close tonight's practice with just a quick seated meditation or just a quick seated moment of mindfulness. It would probably be more appropriate. You just find a comfortable seated position, sitting up on some blankets, pillows, or if you come to the edge of a chair, you can. Just find a comfortable place to sit. Let your hands relax on your knees or in your lap. Try and find that balance between being relaxed but maintaining the integrity of some good posture. And one breathing technique that you can use here to deepen your moment of mindfulness is a 4-4-4 rhythmic breathing, sometimes also referred to as circular breathing, or but even I've heard it called box breathing, where you're essentially just staying with a certain number count, and that number count's going to include your inhalation, a pause at the top of your inhalation, an exhalation, and then a pause at the bottom of your exhalation. So you can fine tune that with numbers that work for you. That would be my encouragement if you'd like to deepen this mindful moment. So we'll just take about another minute or two just to enjoy this opportunity to connect with our life force, our breath, to connect with some gratitude for all the blessings that we have experienced in this life. After your next exhalation, just bring your hands to rest in front of your heart with the head bowed towards the heart. Just take a moment to ask yourself, how can I be more loving? Where can I bring more love into my life? One of the greatest fruits that we can produce in this human experience is love, love for ourselves, and by being loving to one another. Just take a moment to reflect on that. And may peace and love go with you, ahead of you, behind you, beside you, and with you wherever you go. Thank you so much for practicing. Look forward to seeing you again soon. Namaste.